What's up, guys? Back here with another part to the series that I have been working on for, I don't know, just about a year or so now. But I am doing only classics in this video here. This is obviously this is a 5 underrated metal records rendition. So I have 5 classic albums, basically being classic bands and or classic members that do not get nearly as much attention with the projects that are mentioned here, as much as, you know, they probably should. We are not drinking beer right now. I have some hot tea. It is mint green tea with a little bit of cream in it. I don't know if you guys have ever tried it with cream in it, but it's good stuff, man. I'm not a huge coffee guy, so. Fauna's here. She's ready to go. You guys don't see her as much. She's a sweetheart, and she's absolutely adorable. Yeah, what we're listening to in the background is actually the last thing in this video, so I'll talk about it when we get there. First off, this is For Kunsten Mavai Ivig Vik. I don't know. Why did I even try to pronounce that? But this is Kvist. This is a Norwegian black metal project. A little late to the party. This is their one and done only record. It's not their only release. They have, I believe, a demo and an EP that came out before this. But like I said, a little late to the party. This came out in 1996. There is, you know, all these members are in like an instrumental doom band of a very Norwegian name. It's like 4 words long and it's all Norwegian words. So I have no idea how to pronounce it, nor do I particularly remember the name of it. But this is a killer record. It's black metal, but it's heavy, you know? It's black metal, it's not black and death metal, but it has almost like the musical chunkiness of some death metal here and there. It's got an absolute load of like mid-paced, almost blackened traditional metal riffs with lots of melody. It's an interesting listen, and for whatever reason, people don't seem to know it. I'm imagining it didn't get great, it didn't get greatly kept in press, like, you know, Covenant, Malignant Eternal, and the Troll, things like that, the Finster Forest, other classic Norwegian acts that are just blatantly ignored a lot of the time. Fauna, what are you doing? She's always causing trouble here, as you can see. She must take after her brother. But yeah, Kvist rules, man. Check this out if for whatever reason you haven't heard this before. Next. This is dynamite. This is Leviathan's Desire by Protector. This is a top tier German metal band. From, you know, they started in the 80s. But this isn't their... It's an EP that came out right after their second record. And I would probably say it's my favorite Protector. Even though it's the only stuff that I own currently, I need to get those first 2 records. Because if this is, you know, what was going to be the second record, which I've never heard that one. I've heard Gollum and I've heard this. You know, if this is like the cut tracks off of the second record, I imagine the second record is absolutely dynamite. If you guys haven't heard me mention before previously, when I showed this the first time around, this is a record that I found some years ago. I was probably 17 at an exclusive company up in Appleton, Wisconsin, and I was scrolling through like the miscellaneous metal section, and this was in there, but I didn't make note of the name or anything like that, and I just remembered the album cover. And then one day I was scrolling through eBay, and I saw this cover, and I didn't listen to it or nothing, and I just bought it. And I had to do it, man. And this is like a really thrashy death metal. It's, you know, along the lines of the stuff like Merciless from Sweden, a lot of that kind of style. Maybe Messiah from Switzerland, bands like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like mostly thrash with lots of aggressive death metal tinges to it. I'm not really making this one, you know, this isn't a super underground band. You guys definitely have heard this band before. At least I hope so, if not. But for some of you guys that are really into, you know, the death thrash style, I think you would definitely get a kick out of this amazing Protector record. Next, this is something that I actually played in my last video, I think it was. This is Rather Death Than False of Faith by Hydrovade. I just recommended it in my last video, but I'm going to talk about it again because I don't think a record deserves as much praise as this one really does. First off, check out that sick big old piece of cornbread artwork you got right there. This is a UK-based thrash metal band formed in the 80s, as you would expect, like they usually tend to be if they're this classic old school age group. So this specific one has the entire Rather Death Than False of Faith EP or full-length album on it, and then it has the Reptiliad demo tacked onto the second end, which is from 1987. I have this weird thing where I don't use handles. I don't know what the deal is. But so this kind of sits in the more dark side of thrash, but it seems like the lyrical themes aren't as outwardly evil as, you know, some of the like the Dark Angels and Slayers and Sodom and Destruction would be. And it's a really, really great record, man. It's fun. It's riffy. It's a super nasty, nasty guitar tone. It's really one of a kind. I feel like there is an entire subcategory of UK-based thrash that is just like untapped potential in my book. I mean, this record in particular is probably one of the highlights. I mean, the early Sabbath material, the Sabbath UK obviously material is great. I don't know a ton of UK thrash bands. I watched like some of Mark G with the C's videos, but for whatever reason it didn't stick. It's probably too much stuff goes in and out of my brain in a day. I'll need to rewatch those videos to kind of brush up on my UK thrash. What is it? Not Death Wish. Is Death Wish from there? Or is it Death Row? One of the two is also a UK band. I think it's Death Row, I think. And Death Wish is a German band. Whatever. Yeah, it sits in that kind of Dark Angel camp, I would say. You know, that really angry, kind of aggressive thrash. And yeah, I think this band is also since reformed. Not sure if they plan on releasing any new material or anything like that. But I would definitely consider picking this up. It's on Hell's Headbangers if you don't want to buy it from there. There's a million other places that have it. Also, I have a ridiculous amount of stuff to show you guys, but like I'm trying to get through some of it so I can show it. I have enough CDs for probably 4 collection updates sitting over there because I just got back from my honeymoon on Tuesday, and we went to 4 record stores, which, as you might imagine, is dangerous because I also ordered some stuff from some other distros and stuff throughout that. So I have like a metric load of stuff to show you guys. That's going to be next week. It'll probably be 4 or 5 parts. And then it'll probably bring us up to the end of the year list. Yeah, so next. This is probably the least underrated of all of these in my book, but I gotta mention it, dude. This is just, it's unreasonable that people hate on this just because of the band. Haunted by 6 Feet Under. Dude, if you haven't listened to this and you just hate it because it's 6 Feet Under, you're a clown, dude. Straight up. But even if you have listened to this and you don't like it, I would really recommend revisiting this and think of this as like the answer to like the End Complete or whatever from Obituary with Chris doing vocals. I mean, his gross dog bark, extra raspy kind of guttural is a really interesting thing. It's laughable as it can be, especially when he starts to employ his signature high scream, being the high E, that he kind of dabbled with in the Bleeding and then the Created to Kill demo, and then henceforth from there on out, basically he employed that ridiculous E. Try to look past it. I mean, I know you can ignore it because everybody loves The Bleeding by Cannibal Corpse. Everybody loves The Bleeding. There is no way around saying that's not a dynamite death metal record. I mean, so if you like the obituary style of music, the chunky, Celtic Frost inspired mid-paced death metal, mid to slow-paced death metal. Dude, get on this. It's a great record. I seriously would challenge anybody who really does say that they loathe even this album. I could see why you dislike maybe later 6 Feet Under, but revisit this. Seriously, trust me on this one. If you guys are watching me, I'm sure you guys trust my opinion to an extent. All right, this last thing we got going on here is what we are listening to in the background. This is a awesome black mark pressing of this record too. I've been on a tea kick. Hits the spot, man. Alright, so this is Rhymes of Lunacy by Memento Mori. So if you guys aren't familiar with Memento Mori, they were the band formed by Messiah Miraculin after he left Candlemass in the 1990s, early 90s. This came out a year, I think, after Tales of Creation. And this is put out on Black Mark. I was really, really hyped to find this in a used rack at one of my local Ace record stores. And I might have paid 15 or 20 bucks for it. Worth every single penny. So this is featuring members of like Therion and a couple other Swedish metal bands. But the main highlight for me, obviously, is going to be one of my favorite vocalists of all time, Messiah Miracle, and being employed to do the vocals. And dude, this is like all of the great epic doom metal of Candlemass, right? With tons and tons of really, really awesome power metal tinges. Old school, classic power metal, maybe even like Ronnie James Dio style heavy metal, you know, synth and acoustic guitars, and then fat riffs with like nasty, I shouldn't say nasty, classic crunchy Marshall guitar tones all over it. It's literally power doom metal. If you guys like Candlemass, you guys will 150% like this. If you're interested in bands like Smolder, who are now in Finland, which used to be a Canadian band, I think, would recommend this. If you guys like epic metal, you know, you're a Visigoth guy, you like Omen, you like things like that, go and listen to Memento Mori. There are 2 albums, I think, with Messiah Miracle in 93 and 94. The guy still has it to this day, right here, right now, singing on a Amon Amarth record some years ago, killing it, as usual. So he's still in his youth there, in his leather coat, which is, you know, that's a different look, man. It's different than the Friars look, that's for sure. So go check out Memento Mori if you guys have not heard this record. So like I said, that's 5 classic records that y'all need to be listening to if you guys don't know them. If you guys don't own them, blind buy all of them, keep them in your collection, listen to them weekly until you love them. I guarantee it will work out well. Let's give a quick overview once again. Let's see. Yeah, all these goodies right here. You guys will definitely, hopefully, enjoy. I do appreciate you guys watching this. I'll have a more collection-based video here pretty soon. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Fauna says hello. I'll catch you guys next week. Keep it greasy.